I know nobody's in the room yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that at the first of my video. What's up, people? People of the United States, people of the world. But you see that flag right there? Yeah, boy. And it's cold outside. I hope everybody's warm. It's been a day and a half. There's I'll have to make this an Operation Hot Biscuit. I'm telling you, it's crazy that the world is trying to divide everybody. Nobody wants people to work together and get along, because then they lose power. They're only powerful if they can divide and conquer. So it's kind of crazy. I'm gonna give some time for some people to get into the room. Just a few minutes, I'm gonna sit back and chill. And I'm gonna have some coffee. A lot of stuff going on the internet. I'll never understand where companies get off where they try to cause trouble. It always hurts their stock. It makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. And it's stupid. They're trying to turn one group of people against the next group of people until they find the niche that works for them, that they can divide people.
Chill out. That's breaking out right now.
Chill out. That's the word. I'm chilling. I am chill.
King Henry, what about me?
Yep. I'll get to this in a minute. I'm gonna light this cigar. Toasting up a Cuban round. I'm getting them for the 3-packs. Pretty good deal. It's like what's made in Cuba, but it's made in... I want to say Nicaraguan. And I really got that one lit. So I gotta cut it. When you're toasting a cigar, you hadn't cut it yet, and you're... I did it all backwards. I put the cart before the horse. So... well, it's not gonna work, is it? It's giving me issues, ain't it? There it is. Not so bad. Okay. So, I'm back live. I had to take that. Sometimes that's how it goes. I'm running a business too. But I'll give a little bit more time for people to get into the room, because like I said, I know I had to go off that and disconnect for a sec. Thank you for coming back in the room. I'm sorry if I had to cut it off and all if you were already there. Like I said, I had to take a call, running a business. So here's what we got going on. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. I'll have however many people that want to view this later. I got the one in the room and it's all good. So check this out. The Gillette razor company, okay, has decided to run an anti-male or anti-men or smearing or whatever slander campaign. They're calling it toxic masculinity, as if being masculine is toxic. They want to act like that they want to act like it's a problem, and they want to act like men are not checking each other for doing something bad, and that they have the propensity to do something bad towards women. That's their stance. That's what they're trying to do, and they're trying to get into the MEE2 TOO, Me Too movement. If you go hashtag and MEETOO with no spaces, you'll find some on that. Now basically, here's the situation. Women should have equal rights. And we have strived in this country to make that happen. There was a women's suffrage movement. They've got the right to vote, this and that. People have hijacked that movement and took it in a completely different direction and made it so that they're trying to teach from a very young age. First, they're trying to put up, the television is trying to put up all types of movies that desensitize children to things that they should not be desensitized to, like sexually explicit material. Okay? And that indoctrinates them into a way of being to being normalized into something that they should not be. It degenerates a society. They're also trying to make women think that, well, you don't need a man and you can raise children on your own and this and that. And you know, they've tried to divide the nuclear family, make it so that there's no extended family, no uncles and aunts and parents that are two parents, you know, in the household to help raise a child. And now it's gotten so far as they've always tried to divide and conquer. There's always an idea out there that they cannot manage a group in a country, a group of individuals that come together and coalesce and form a country. Like, we're a melting pot. You see that flag right there? We're all supposed to be working together. There are people that go by a mindset and a way of thought that tells them that you can't rule a nation of people that have that mindset. That first you have to divide them and turn them against each other, and then you can rule them. Because it's too many if they all go against you, and they're all paranoid about not just losing power, but they're paranoid about losing their lives. Because if you look at what happened to the Russian family a long time ago, no one thought that would ever happen. That's recent enough for the people who are ruling these countries that they're scared of it. Okay? And look at the dictators that have been overthrown recently. And they know if they can do that, they know other people can do that to them, and they're scared. Trump is up there really shaking the whole mess up, scaring all of them with their jobs. A lot of them have been fired. He's draining the swamp. That's just the truth of it. So they're now turning to now they put the Antifa groups together and this and that, and it's all, you could be going to work, everything's fine with you, you feel great, beautiful sunshine coming up, you're about to go to work. All of a sudden you get over the top of the hill and there's a bunch of people standing in the road like idiots trying to block your way because they call themselves protesting. Then that upsets you. Then you pick a side, one side or the other. Then you find yourself against that group, they find themselves against you, and the Psyop, or whatever kind of a campaign you want to call it, okay, it worked. If people are turned against each other, it's because someone made it happen. Someone did the divide and conquer, and it worked. Don't let this mess get you upset, people. It makes me upset that they're trying it and that some people don't notice it, and then they don't know why they're mad, but they're mad about this or that. Am I going to support that company anymore? I'll tell you what, they're definitely going to have to put out some type of an apology before it even sways me at all. And I'm surprised they even tried it. I'm gonna turn this truck off. Let me get the heat up real quick and then I'll turn it off. I'm surprised they even tried it simply because there's been all these companies recently that have tried to do the same thing, tried to do some type of a divide and conquer. Oh, we're for this and we're against that, and they ruined their businesses. They lost so many millions in sales. I don't have to name the companies. I could. One of them makes coolers, you know. Another one is a sporting goods store. You can look it up. It's been happening. It's their last ditch effort. They're willing to throw the company under the bus for their own political ideals by using a divide and conquer campaign. So where that leaves us as people is it throws a roadblock in front of us for people who are trying to coalesce and work towards a better tomorrow. It causes strife among people in this country. There is no good that can come of it. None. No good can come of dividing a people that are supposed to be together. So unless you're trying to destroy a country or attack a country, take over a country, a misinformation, disinformation, subliminal messaging campaign cannot lead to anything good. Now, the video that they put up is not even an ad for Gillette razors. There's not even a razor in the commercial. It's not even a commercial. It's a movie with a bunch of actors acting as if one is stopping the other one from treating women bad, and the women acting as if they were treated bad. It shows a bunch of clips really quickly. Subliminal messaging. Really quickly. So fast you won't discern it unless you watch it. I had to watch that thing 4 times to pick up on exactly every single thing they were trying to do. They put videos of television stuff that showed women dancing around at the beach or whatever in like a promiscuous fashion. Well, the thing is, it's the news and the television and all that put that out there in the first place. So my challenge to them then is let's start a new ratings. Let's make nothing to be on television, regular television, now that it's broadcast over the digital spectrum. On anything digital that is not acceptable for children down to age 2. And then anything else, put an automatic block on the channels until you unblock it, so that a kid scrolling through the TV doesn't see that mess and doesn't grow up with a thought like that in their head, if that's what they're trying to say or whatever. They're the ones putting it out there in the first place, and they want to now blame men for it. I don't know a man out here that's got any control over any of the movie conglomerate companies, the television companies, the news media, any of it. I don't know anybody. They put it up and it's up there. That's why a lot of people have stopped watching television. They've started getting apps on their phones. That one, I'll have to think of it, but this guy gave me, I think it's Pluto, Pluto, TV. You can watch TV right on your phone. But that's why a lot of people have stopped paying for cable, stopped paying for this and that, because they're tired of the bombardment of all the garbage that's put up there on TV. But right now, like I said, Gillette has put up their own little, let's call it a little movie. It's not an ad. It's not a commercial. It's a short film. They're calling the problem that they're saying there's a problem now of toxic masculinity. Okay? Like masculinity's toxic. They don't complain when men are rushing to Hurricane Katrina and sitting on a tarmac with 500 other drivers sitting on a military base waiting to go help people. And by the way, they didn't let us into Louisiana. That was their fault. We were all in Mississippi helping them people out. So keep that in mind. We were there. They want to say we weren't there? That's another lie. Matter of fact, the president had to, President Bush had to make a comment to a colonel down there, because he got mad because one of the drivers actually was even just talking to a colonel's wife, something he thought that she was a truck driver. So then that made the colonel upset, and well, Bush said, hey, you gotta punish the few but spare the many. That's the word that came down. I was there. Oh yeah. So we were there, ready to help out after Katrina. We were kept out of Louisiana. So that's the whole thing. Men, when there's a problem, go out and help, regardless of if it's men, women, whatever. So to say that all men act in a certain way is painting people with a broad brush. So of course they're going to get pushed back. Of course they are. Then they want to say, well, anyone who defends this point must be a bad person. No. Anyone who makes a comment on it is what they were saying. No. If it's not so much that you're offended for them saying that. It's that don't know what kind of a messed up town they live in, but that don't fly in every town I've been in the United States. And it's misinformation and disinformation, and they're talking on top of each other. They're using a monotone voice along with a higher pitched voice and then a whisper, all three intertwined. So it's subliminal messaging. They're running a psyop, you know, and they're calling it, they're saying it's that men are saying boys will be boys and they're just supposed to act. No, nobody says that. That's about 1,000 years old. You know, people don't put up with that crap. So maybe the town that Gillette's in has a problem like that. Maybe they need to clean up their town. Who knows? But it's not just them, because other news agencies are starting to try to report it in that way. It's at the same time, if you hear the same soundbite from news agencies and a company and this and that, they're all working together. It's a program, and they're all working off of the same program sheet. So going from there, I put a few thoughts on it, because here's how I see it. If Gillette is interested not in doing commercials for their product, because they didn't even show the product, at the end they showed their name, okay? And they said that you can get in touch with them at thebestmencanbe.org. So if that's what you want to do, go tell them how you think. But they're trying to start argument or debate or strife between certain women's groups that will argue with you all day long and start a problem with you. They have no argument, and then they'll shut up, because I've encountered it. Because I brought up, hey, what about the Metoo movement? Hey, how about this? What about the unborn babies? 50% of those are female. I'm sure they'd raise their hand, and if they could talk, they would say, me too. You know, don't kill me. Abortion is murder, people. Because if there's a woman who is pregnant, and let's say she's in a car accident, if she dies, they count that as 2 deaths because of the unborn fetus. It is a person, not a choice. So going from there, you know, I'm looking at it like this. If they're so interested in women's rights, this Gillette company that can do a commercial and not have their product in it, I sent a tweet to them. I said, hey, how about, why don't you do a video or movie or whatever you want to call it, a short film, on abortion? You know, tell women who are in control of the situation that they're being used and tricked. It will make them worry and stress over it for the rest of their life. They will feel guilt and shame on it. And you can have women on there who have had abortions that will testify to it, because there's no funeral, there's no grieving process, but the people feel a sense of loss. That's the truth behind abortion. So riddle me this one, Gillette, why don't you save some babies' lives, which is very important, okay? Why don't you do a movie on that? A little short film on that. I doubt they will, because those are the people they're trying to turn against the other people, and they're saying they're part of the Metoo movement. Well, unborn babies, let's not call them fetuses. Let's not use the word abortion. Let's call it what it is. Okay? Unborn babies are being murdered. It should not be legal. The original reason, the original court case, okay, for abortion, with the research I've done, has shown that the woman said she was raped and she should have had access to an abortion and felt it should be legal. And yet later she recanted and said she was not raped and that she lied. So the whole law is built on a lie. It should be repealed. I really don't have an issue, honestly, with certain reasons, okay, medical health of the mother versus, you know, if she could die. And honestly, even in the event of rape, even in that, they're creating it into a genocide. Okay? Another guy, one of the guys that was in Benghazi, he put up a link showing how Planned Parenthood was allowing these women who were really young, 14, 16-year-old, who were pregnant, allowing them to get abortions without their parents being present, because they were being used in the sex trade by people who were controlling them, and they were hiding it and not reporting it just so they can get abortions done. That didn't make the news. He put a link up on Twitter to it, though. So if Gillette is interested in women's suffrage or women's rights, where do they stand on abortion? Where do they stand on that? They're calling it the sex trade. They're calling it I can't think of the word. Trafficking. Okay. And there's a group, Truckers Against Trafficking. That's a good group. You can go look at their stuff. It'll give you some ideas of what to say if you encounter someone in a truck stop or a parking lot. You can talk to them and you know, say, is someone holding you here against your will? Are you being made, you know, tells you whether you need to call the police or not about what's going on, you know. But they should not be anywhere. And there's missing children all the time. What's up with all the missing children? All these, it's always been pictures at Walmart, stuff on the news. Where does Gillette stand on that? Okay? They're not trying to do good, they're trying to divide and conquer. They picked a group, they're trying to cause issues, and trying to cause basically division between men and women. There's a lot of people in this country, men and women, who see through that. They see right through that. They're like, that's not right. People don't act like that. Those are actors. They're actors. So if they're going to get into that, tell me this. How about the rape culture that's over in Europe going on right now? It's a problem with the Muslim extremists that are moved into European countries that are currently doing what's called taharush gamia. They surround women and then they rape them. It's happening at all these concerts, all these events. There's thousands and hundreds of thousands of them, that instances that this has happened. And they can't, by law, list their nationality or where they're from in the news when it happens. What's that about? Gillette, where do you stand on that? Are you going to Europe? Are you gonna tell those people that they shouldn't be doing that? No, you're not. You know, sit down and shut up. That's what I got for you. And you're not going to get any more of my money until I hear something that says, hey, look, this was stupid. Maybe even get rid of the CEO that had the idea to put it up. Somebody was the last person in charge. You know, who was manning the deck? Whose watch was it? We want to know. We want to know. Who thought that was a great idea? Because nobody in the public does. Nobody that buys Gillette razors do. Like I said, I've got an electric wall shaver. We were talking about it. And, you know, look, there's people that grow beards. There's people right now who are men who are fighting for the freedom of women and children in this country, over there in Afghanistan, over there, all those countries over there that we're in, that have grown beards because it's customary for men to have beards, or they won't take them seriously and they won't work with them. So they've been allowed to grow beards. That should tell you something. And that's why some of the military come back over here and have beards. And guess what? That should tell you something. Guess what? They don't need your razors. They can use scissors. We're doing you a favor when we buy your product. So, you don't see them telling the television companies that they shouldn't be showing too much sexually explicit material to desensitize children to X-rated behavior. Okay? You don't see any of that. I'm fixing to get photobombed here. I'm in a place where I've got a good view of the flag. Also got a good view of this here. I'll just leave it at that. That's the view you get for a minute. But, you know, they tell me this. Gillette, I'd like to know, where do you stand on the fake news that went into the White House and the guy in there took his arm and hit a White House intern to stop her from taking the microphone from him? Hit her in the bend of her arm. Tell me where you stand on that. Okay? You know, it's ridiculous. The fight is not between anyone in this country. The fight is for your mind. We're all living in a constant state of upheaval with the psyops that are running against us. So I wanted to point this one out. It's so easy to spot if you just watch the video about 3 or 4 times and write down. They've got 3 different lines of audio. Write down what one says, write down what the other says, and it's on top of each other in layers. Like I said, it's psychological programming, psychological warfare against you. And it's a psyop. Wake up. You know, listen to it. But there's so much to it. You know, there's men that are firefighters and police officers and, you know, serving in all branches of the military, carpenters, air conditioning, repairmen, judges, lawyers that sometimes work for free. It's called pro bono, as child advocates. Gillette, you should donate money to those people rather than run a smear campaign against men. Because men don't act that way. I don't know what town, like I said, I do not know what town you think you were representing. I know they're all paid actors, but that doesn't happen, you know? And if it does, it's not a man problem for a man problem. You know, there's crazy people out there, but like I said, you should be in Europe, where they're doing those rape game and all that stuff, and they come over here. There's places over here you might want to talk to them. The women can't get out from under the burqa. There's a whole thing called, I think it's Don't Tell the New York Post, or Don't Tell something, and they're saying they'd like to get away from those people. They've tried to escape from those people, and they'll be killed if they come back. There was a woman over there, I'm sorry, who caught her daughter on fire and said it was a killing that was justified by her shaming her family because the girl wanted to marry somebody that they didn't want her to marry. So the mother caught her on fire and killed her. Look that one up. Gillette, if you want to straighten something out, there's places that do need to be straightened out, but it's not this one under that flag. Not so much as I see. Not so much as that we don't have a legal process to protect people. We do have laws in place, and they're one phone call away from the police department if there's a problem. So your men shaming campaign is a flop. But we know it's psychological warfare against us. We know that it's misinformation, disinformation. It's propaganda. Cut and dry. It's garbage. We don't want to see that. We just don't. It's offensive. I'm offended by it. It took me a little bit to watch it. You got to watch it 3 or 4 times and then have a formed opinion on it. Because it's subtle in about 15 or 20 different ways. And it took other people making comments about it for me to understand their viewpoint and understand, hey, yeah, you know what, that is kind of wrong. It's way wrong. Then when you see the manner that they present it, with voices over voices and flash photography where it's flashing little pictures and images at you so fast that only your subliminal, your cortex, your brain can pick it up. The same as they do on television screens. Oftentimes they layer it in between screens. I still need to call a friend of mine. The doctor there, they call him. He's a professor. Yeah, they call him the professor. He had an issue where he pulled down a screen that was stuck on that. That's what he did, was change screens. It was in a public place. It's a Psyop. It was stuck on a thing that didn't have anything to do with the concert. It had to do about don't have guns. That's what it said. It was stuck on that. They layer it in between the video frames so fast that your mind can understand it, but you don't really pick up on it consciously. It's subliminal. It's below liminal. Subliminal. Okay? So this smear campaign has opened up a whole host of issues about, is it right for a company with an agenda to use subliminal messaging and a psyop against the American public? Should that even be legal? There were thoughts on that when television first came out. But if they could do that, well, should that be permitted? You know. But anyway, it's obvious. It's a psyop, psychological operation designed to turn people against each other. And like I said, slow down your emotions, take it apart piece by piece, and you'll understand it. It's a psyop. That's all there is to it. So companies that try to divide people always lose millions in sales and stock in the end, you know. And you would think they would learn from other people's mistakes by now, other companies, but I guess it's more important to cause a divide and conquer tactic and to cause strife than it is to sell their product. But they're gonna lose a lot of money because a lot of people think it's BS, you know. But we got people in the United States, we've got a lot more in common, you know, the hardworking Americans who actually make this country work, like you and me, that we have more in common than we have not in common. So let's just support each other. Don't be swayed by lies and propaganda. It's like 2019, people, and we are America, not corporate entities that try to tell you how to think, okay? So think for yourself. But we're a melting pot. We're one nation, undivided. Don't be divided. You're only divided if you allow them to divide you. Be a free thinker, you know, own your own thoughts. That's all I got. I got to ride. People, you do what you want with how you feel about one movement or another, but this one is a diversionary tactic. They're doing nothing good and everything bad. It's a psyop. So if they want to put their money towards that, fine. That's the last of my money that they'll get for a while. So there's a Dollar Shave Club for men. You can get some wall trimmers, little bitty trimmers that work pretty good, and you can work a beard, you know, just grow a full beard, trim around it, however you want to do it. And here's the thing, this is what kills me. They charge women more for razors than men anyways. So what are they trying to say? And women have to buy more razors than men because they got more real estate to shave. If you take a razor, if you take a measuring tape and measure the human face, a man's face, and you measure how many square inches a man has to shave, and then you measure a woman and everything on, you know, their legs and all that, they have to shave. They're shaving more real estate, people. So they have to buy, their razors are more expensive in the first place, almost double, okay? Then they have to buy more razors because they wear out quicker, because they're shaving more real estate. So on the one hand, I understand if Gillette thinks that that's more of their demographic as women of some sort. But to do a divide and conquer campaign where most of those women would agree with the men they're with that it's BS and they can go somewhere else, honestly, it was never smart. I think you're going to lose both sets of customers, men and women, Gillette. I think that's what's going to happen to you. And you did it to yourself. You didn't learn from the other company's mistakes ahead of you. So these are not just my thoughts. This is backed up by fact. Watch your stock tank. Watch it go through the ground. Maybe it's a CEO that's got one of those golden parachute contracts that if they get fired, they'll make millions just to get them out, and they want out. Maybe that's what this is about. So that they can get fired on purpose. And then they bring another one in, and then they tank the company, and then they make money from the sellers. I don't know. But it's definitely not going to sell razors. So, to anybody. So, don't let your emotions run high, or you get upset from a man to a woman or a woman to a man on this. Because law enforcement can take care of any problem that you might have, and you can call the police. But this is not a situation that is what they would want you to think anyways. They've got people that are actors on there playing a role that they want them to play. So I think somebody's trying to get fired. That's my thoughts. Because you can't possibly think it's going to sell more razors. So they evidently hired somebody in who has either no idea on how to sell their product, or they want that golden parachute money. So that's what's really up. So Gillette, I just gave you some ideas, some things that you could get into if you really want to make a difference in the world. One, save children by being pro-life. Help end abortion. Okay? Donate money to mothers who might need it to stop them from doing that, or start a campaign to teach them better and different. Start a campaign in Europe to teach those people over there not to rape them and not to murder people and try to kill people. I put links up. I put it at Gillette. You know. And maybe, just maybe, don't paint people with a broad brush. Because we're all working together under that flag. And we ain't got no time for your games and your psyop. That's all I got to say. I'm going to get down the road. Y'all stay safe. I'm out.